And we are back. Welcome, guys, to the Coach Approach podcast with your presenter, myself, Don Dorico. Solo podcast today. It is a lovely day. Phil is busy, so I wanted to get the weekly podcast out. And today's topic, big one, how to drop body fat or weight fast. So I was actually doing some research this week about what is the most commonly searched phrases or search sentences in the world when it comes to fat loss. And I was surprised to see what actually was being like searched for by many people, females, males. And the most common one is how can I drop weight fast? Or what is the best way to drop body fat? So it kind of goes in between the both. There's unhealthy rate of weight. What is the unhealthy rate of weight loss? How can I lose weight quickly? What are the best ways? What are the easy tricks? What's the best way? So dived into all of this, and I was like, right, could be a great topic to discuss because it seems to be the most searched thing on the internet when it comes to fat loss. It's nothing in terms of what are the best foods, what are best this. It's just what is the best way to drop body fat fast. And I'm going to be very open about this and I'm going to give you some examples and how I do this myself with clients or if I've got the 8 week peak physique, which was once known as the 8 week blitz. So I've had clients go through my programs where we have lost, I think Giles lost 12 kilos, so 2 stone in 8 weeks. We had Sam who lost 10 kilos, which is just under 2 stone. Fabio, 10 kilos. We had Alex who lost 11 kilos, just under 2 stone. So I know how to push people pretty damn fast. Pretty damn hard to see fast results. Is it sustainable and is it worth it? Now, this also is all depending on your current situation. So, if your goal is literally, I just need to drop body fat, I don't really care what I look like, I don't care about the gym, I don't care about muscle, you can absolutely do this quite well. And I've even got Fiona, who did a photo shoot with me recently, losing 35 kilos by not even training. She just did cardio steps and a meal plan. So that really shows the power of how unimportant the gym can be, but I'm biased as a coach to how important the gym actually really is because it's physique development. Fat loss is just one side of the coin. Fat loss is important, but what is the longevity of life? It's actually muscle. If the more muscle you have, the healthier you are, the better you are, the stronger you are, the better immune system you are. So we should not always be looking at I only want to drop body fat. We need to be saying, right, one part of my fitness journey is fat loss. Then it's like, how can I build loads of muscle to be as healthy as I can? But okay, for the argument's sake, obviously this episode is about how to drop body fat fast. So how do I do it with my own clients in the 8 week peak physique or the 8 week blitz that it was? Now, you can drop calories very low, which I generally do. So say someone came to me and needed to drop or had quite a high body fat percentage and their baseline calories is maybe 2,600, 2,700. I'd bring them straight down to 2,000 calories. I'll put them in a huge nutrition deficit of 700 calories. Now, the idea is to make sure that you create a huge deficit, but also not starve them to the point that they're always just going to go over that. And that's a fine line of dropping calories so much that people can't handle it, and then having it so low, and then having it low enough that they can just handle it without going overboard and going mental with, oh, I need food. I'm just gonna give up and just eat loads of chocolate in the evening. So initially, you can drop your calories very low. Now, anyone can do that. My nan can tell you to do that. My dog can tell you to do that. The idea is now to have whole foods. The lower your calories, the more important nutrients become, or your nutrient intake and sources of food. You do not want to be having cereal. You do not want to have protein bars. You don't want to have sweets. You don't want to have things and foods that are highly processed that aren't filling. Like, for example, McDonald's. I mean, I did a McDonald's challenge. Don't get me wrong, that nearly killed me. But generally, you could have two double cheeseburgers and it not even touch the sides, and that's nearly 900 calories. So you need to be very clever with what you are eating. And you can search this on the internet, the most satiating, I can never say the word, the most satiating foods on the planet. So I'll get it up in that later on, but You can find foods that, oats, potatoes, oranges, grapes, eggs, all these different foods. And I've just listed a few there, but there are more. And it'll break down the most filling foods. Then again, you have to be clever. You want to be feeling fuller for longer. So to drop body fat fast, you make a big fucking ass deficit, but you also make sure that you are eating foods that are going to fill your body up and give you nutrients. If you are on low calories for long periods of time and you're eating, like I had this conversation with someone about cereal. Cereal doesn't really fill you up. It increases it raises your blood sugar levels. Your sugar levels go sky high and then they come crashing down. What happens when it comes crashing down? You then become very hungry, low energy, feel faint, need to eat something. So you don't really get that with whole foods. You will have obviously still sugar spikes, but they're more level. Potatoes are going to be absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. I think oats are great. Some people will actually have the argument that oats are not, but I don't believe that. I think I've created so many transformations with clients using oats, like having oats as then one of their main carb source, and the same with myself. Then you look at what can I have that are low calories to help fill me fuller for longer. So this is going to be your vegetables. This is going to be your fruits. So, your strawberries, your blueberries, your blackberries, your raspberries, low calories, high nutrients. Low calories, high nutrients can add anything into it. So vegetables as well, low calories, high nutrient profile. You want to be filling your plate with it. You want to be adding more of that, the lower calories you have. You have less room to play around with, so you want to be having low calorie, high nutrient stuff. So vegetables and fruits are going to be your backbone of your meal plan, along with your carb sources of potatoes, rice. Rice still can be filling. Oats, sourdough is very good, and then what you've got to do then, that's your backbone and foundation, your fruits, your vegetables, your whole foods that are carb sources, and then high protein. High protein is the most filling foods. So you want to drop body fat fast to stay and help yourself stay in the deficit. You are going to have mostly fruits, vegetables, filling whole carbs, and then high protein foods. You're going to switch to lean sources. So you're going to take away all the red meat. Although red meat is very good for you, let's drop body fat fast for a short period of time. We're just going to stick to chicken, turkey, white fish. Whey protein can be low in calories and high in protein. Egg whites over eggs, maybe one egg and some egg whites. So now you're starting to look at yogurt, protein yogurt, like your Sky yogurt or your Phage yogurt, low calories, high protein. This is what's going to help you feel fuller for longer as well, and it actually burns the most calories. So that is your backbone of your diet. Purely high protein, lean sources, vegetables and fruit, low calories, fill up the plate. Salads as well can help. And then your carb sources like your potatoes, your rice, your oats, stuff like that. That's going to help keep you fuller as well. So those are the foundational things in your backbone for a low calorie diet to stay fuller for longer. You want to probably push your main meal, but your first meal as far back as possible. So instead of having breakfast at 6, 7 a.m., try and have breakfast at like 10, 11 o'clock. You don't need to really eat when you first get up. None of us are really that hungry. And it sometimes can actually be shown to be quite beneficial to not eat first thing in the morning unless you're in a bulk or muscle building phase where lots of calories are needed. But then you want to maybe push your first meal. Then it comes to meal timings. Okay, I generally am better off waiting until 10, 11 o'clock. So when I did my bodybuilding show, my breakfast was at 10, 11 and my last meal was at 7. So I was doing kind of intermittent fasting, 8 to 12, 8 to 16. So I had my first meal at 11, my last meal at 7. So I reduced the time window of eating. I'm never hungry in the morning, so I was fine in the morning. Water, coffee, sound. Make sure you drink lots of water as well. Again, water is energy, helps you stay fuller for longer, and can give you the energy that you need if you're feeling tired. So meal timings become another one as well. That's how you're going to kind of structure your meals throughout the day. Then it comes to training. Again, you don't actually need to do resistance training. A lot of coaches will say you do, but you don't actually need to. You need to set yourself up with some cardio and steps. Steps is going to be one of a huge contributing factor to your fat loss journey. If you are doing 3, 4, 5, 6,000 steps, expect fat loss to be very, very slow. You really want to be pushing for that at least 10,000 per day. Do a bulk of it early in the morning, like myself this morning before this podcast. I went for a 5,000k step walk. I did my cardio, did my ab circuit, and I've had breakfast all by 7:30 a.m. Okay, it's not that hard. You can do it, and I know clients with kids that have done it. or you'll find ways to do it. So your cardio, you could set up at maybe 4 times 25 minutes, start with 100 minutes per week for the first week, then maybe 125 minutes the next week, then 150 minutes the next week, then 175 minutes, go up in 25s. Is what I would always do. 4 times 25 is always good, or 5 times 20 would always be really good. On top of your training, if you want to. Training is only there to kind of maintain the muscle that you have. If you really don't want to do the training, don't worry, just do the cardio. You're still going to drop body fat. Trust me. With the nutrition, calorie deficit, with your cardio output, with your steps, you will drop body fat fast. Then when you start looking at actually wanting to make physique development, build muscle, then you can look at training. I would always still recommend training. You know, I'm a big bias of that. But for this argument's sake of dropping body fat fast and you have maybe less time, cardio is going to be absolutely fine. But remember, when you are dropping body fat and you're not resistance training, you will lose muscle. So you start losing your shape. You start losing the shape. If you're a female, you start losing your glutes. You start losing all this type of stuff. Everything that you've maybe built over years and years and years, like here and there, will just disappear. So resistance training is what helps maintain it. So we have the nutrition foundation, the backbone of it, what you need to be doing. Lots of fruit, 300 to 500 grams of, I would actually go with 500 grams of fruit. And make sure that the fruit that you have is low calories, like your kiwis, your berry family. You know, bananas are higher calories compared to like your strawberries. So you've got to be clever. Vegetables, spinach, beetroot, carrots, peppers, all that type of stuff. Make sure you're having 500 grams per day of that. High protein diet, 1 pound, 1 gram of protein for 1 pound of body weight. So let's just for argument's sake, I'm 100 kilos. That's 220 grams of protein. My baseline calories are 3,100, give or take. For 3,200, I think my maintenance calories are. If I was to go aggressive for 8 weeks and drop as much body fat as possible, I'd bring myself down to 2,002. You know, I'd take 1,000 off. If you're a female, your base limit is maybe 2,100. You know, bring you down to 1,514. You know, it's only for a short period of time. If you've got a lot of body fat to lose, you can sacrifice going really low in calories because you've got the body fat to use as energy. So people that are seriously overweight can actually start at a much lower calorie deficit. So, for example, a client that's 120 kilos, super overweight, can actually get away with probably 2,000 calorie diet, 1,800 calorie diet because they've got so much body fat that they're utilizing for energy, so they can get away with it. It's all person dependent. Remember, guys, you know, I'm just talking generically here, but you want to make sure you have a big deficit, but not so much so that you want to fucking cave in, because if you do go too low, you end up, you know, say your 1,500 calories is your deficit and it's so low, then you can't stick to it. And then you add like a muffin or bagel with Nutella or whatever it is, or chocolate bar, takes you all the way up to 2,500, you fucked it. So that's another thing to take in consideration. Cardio, you know, you go in hard straight away, 5 times 25, 5 times 20, whatever it may be. I'll probably start in the 100-minute mark roughly to start off with, and then build up every single week from there. So you can drop body weight fast, okay? You definitely can. This is how I do it with clients. I make it aggressive. I also think that having the short-term mindset actually really does help. Even though I always go on about the long-term mindset, because all of my clients do, but when you're like, right, I need to drop body weight fast, I'm going to give myself 8 weeks. In your mind, psychologically, you are going to give your all in 8 weeks. You know you're not going to be going low calories more than eight weeks. So you're like, right, sweet, I'm going to go all in, lower calories, high cardio, high steps, good sources of food, all that type of stuff. And I know it's only 8 weeks. I'm going to see what I can do. Then, when you get to the 8 weeks and you drop a lot of body fat, what you do need to be careful is making sure you reverse or you maintain what you have at that point. So many people have dropped body fat in 8 weeks and put it back on in about 3 weeks because they have not understood how to reverse out of that properly or how to maintain that. And that's where normally a coach comes into play. And I've seen it before. You know, some clients have done my 8 week programs, have done fantastic. Some of them continued, which was brilliant, and we continued seeing fat loss, and now they look incredible, and they've been with me long term. I've had other clients, or I say other clients, that have done 3 of my 8 week fat loss, have done 3 of the 8 week programs. Why? Because they do the 8 weeks, do really well. I said, do you want to help reversing out? They're like, no, all good. They go back to where they were. Even worse, they come back for 8 weeks. They lose loads of body fat. I'm like, right, do you really like? We want to learn to keep it off. They're like, no, all good, thank you again, brilliant. I'm like, okay, cool. What happens? They put on even more body fat, so they're back again for the 8 weeks. So there's a lot of people that will actually spend more time, wasting a lot of time doing these 8 week programs and still getting nowhere. But If you're looking for longevity, you need to learn how to maintain that, and that's where coaches come into play, like myself as well. So every client that's come to me and done the 8 week plans, and done phenomenally and stayed on with me longer, have created even. I'll use Giles as an example. We went from 100 to 78 kilos. We reversed out properly. He's looking phenomenal, completely different person. We've done 2 muscle building phases. We're in our third muscle building phase. He looks incredible. He's now 87 kilos at the moment from checking yesterday. And he's learned how to really train hard, and he's got this new love, and he looks so different and is just so much more confident, all that type of stuff. And now he's been with me for a year and a half, coming up to 2 years now. So yeah, my 8 week programs do really, really work. So drop body weight fast. That's exactly what I do with clients. You sort out the plan of food, whole foods, everything needs to change. Low calorie fruits and vegetables, packed with nutrients, high protein, lean sources, potatoes, rice, oats, sourdough, that type of stuff is going to be important. You can bring the carbs pretty low if you want. Training, don't need to train, but you can train if you want in terms of resistance training. That will help you maintain the muscle that you have, but it's not necessary if you literally just want to drop body fat. Set your cardio at like 4 times 20 or 5 times 25, increase it every week. Make sure your step count is minimum 8 to 10,000 and then build upon that. By the end of the 8 weeks, you're probably going to be around 14 to 15,000 as well. Make sure you're tracking your weight daily. Females, cycle plays a big role in it. So you want to be careful with like your fluctuations and not getting too downhearted, but track your average of the week and compare each average of the week. There will always be fluctuations depending on your sources of food, etc. Meal times, push it as far back as possible. Maybe do the 8 to 16 rule. That's what I do. I sometimes like the 10 to 14 rule as well. 10 hours of making sure I can only eat, and then 14 hours of just water or coffee outside of that. Make sure you are hydrating yourself. Water is a form of energy. Our body's made up of 70% water, guys. So don't deprive yourself. Every single person that I've tried to, even my friends, females especially, who do not drink enough water, have complained. Honest, I can even tell you one of my neighbors. She didn't drink enough water for 2 years, complaining consistently about energy. Kept telling her. Guess what happened? Probably about 5 months ago. She goes, "Oh my God, I cannot tell you the difference after drinking more water on how I feel." I'm like, there we go. We've just taken 2 years to figure that out. So hydration is really, really important. Make sure you're getting 2 to 3 liters at least for you. Every person is different. If you're a smaller female, expect a lower rate of loss. If you're a male who's got a very high body fat percentage, expect a faster rate of loss. So it's all relevant to your position as well. Don't matter if someone's losing 1 or 2 kilos per week. If you're a female who's 65 kilos looking to lose 5 kilos, whatever it is, expect a slower rate of loss. You're not going to lose 1 to 2 kilos per week, and expect fluctuations. So how to lose body weight, body fat fast? Literally what I just told you guys. Don't try and do it for too long. Anything that's aggressive does become unsustainable and you will just fuck up your body. So make it nice and short. 8 weeks is more than enough. And drop off as much as you can. Learn to reverse out, learn to maintain. Don't do this low calorie, high cardio stuff for more than 8 weeks because you will just trash your body. I quite enjoyed that one actually. I think I might be doing more podcasts like that and looking at what is very, very common and what people are looking for. I'll do that again on another podcast episode because I quite like researching what people are wanting to find out. So yeah, if you like this episode, guys, give me a message. If you want to see anything that you want me to talk about, please do drop me a message. And thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to seeing you, or well, I'm hoping you're looking forward to hearing me on the next one as well. Have a fantastic rest of your day.